Well, hey everybody, it's Monday night, and you know what that means. It's Check-In Monday. Grateful to have you with me on tonight. Grateful to have you joining me. It is hot in the ATL. I can tell you that. It was hot today, and I'm not complaining, I guess, because I saw a video of Phoenix, and it was hotter than that, and so I'm not complaining. I guess I'm all right, and we'll deal with the heat. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I had the computer did an upgrade on a piece of software, and I see it registering, but I want to make sure you can hear me. And if you can hear me, just say we hear you. Let me know if you hear what I'm saying. All right. Give that just a few seconds for y'all to respond to that, and then we'll move right into our check-in Monday. If you can hear me, just say I can hear you. All right. Thank you, Sister Austin, Brother Owen. They said we can hear you. Good. Um, I don't like when these things do upgrade. Sometimes they do what they do. But anyway, so if you're here tonight, and thank you for joining, do this for me. Want you to like, share, make comments tonight, and join me on tonight. Good to see all of you that are online tonight. I see a few. Thank you, Sis Adams. That's on Facebook. I see my cousin Ruth. God bless you. And those of you that are here, I see many of you tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me jump right into this. And not gonna be long. I did this. It's been a while back that I did this, but I wanted to do it tonight because I think that it's very important that when we deal with people and deal with the change of what's going on with the world and with people, whether it's church, whether it's in the whatever place it is, we have to deal with some things, and we have to be mindful of some things that change around us, and some things that happen around us, and we have to be mindful of them. And so tonight, I want to deal with three things. That's something that came to me many, many years ago, and I want to share it with you tonight, that it will help you as you go forward. I believe that we should take care of one another and check in on one another, but I also believe that you've got to make sure that you take care of yourself, and that you are the primary thing for yourself, caregiving and making sure that you're fine mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so tonight I want to talk to you about a few things. Let's go right into this, and I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about tonight. Here we go. Tonight, I want to talk to you about three things you should never let anyone do. Three things you should never let anyone do. And I'm going to say that again so you can hear me way in the back. There are three things you should never let anyone do, or allow anyone to do it to you. And so when you think about that, there's some things that you just shouldn't allow. There's some things you just shouldn't tolerate. There's some things you just shouldn't allow people to do. And I only want to name three of them. I'm sure as we get into this, you can name quite a few more. You got a list that you can go on and on and on. But tonight, I want to tell you about these three things that you can not allow people to do. All right, here we go. Number one, the first thing you can't allow people to do is this: never allow people to disrespect you. Never allow them to disrespect you. People have a way. There's a pattern that has changed today when it comes to disrespect, and people will disrespect you, and they will do it in several ways. It's not just one way, but they do it in several different ways, and you have to be careful, because sometimes there's disrespect that comes in a way that it comes in the form of joking, and someone may they really mean what they're saying, but they say it in a joking manner, even though they really mean it. And it's a form of disrespect that we see a lot today, where people will say something, whether it's about your weight, whether it's about how you look, whether it's about what's going on with you, and they'll say stuff, and then they'll say, "Oh, I was just joking." And it's a form sometimes. Now, some people may do it in a joking manner, but there's a lot of people, in my experiences, they do it in a way that it's disrespect, and they use it in a joking form to disrespect you. And every now and then, you've got to check people. You got to let them know, no, 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 don't say that. And you've got to put people where they will not say certain things, because they will disrespect you in a joking manner. And this is the day that people, what they call shade, I guess, throwing a lot of shade, people will say things in a way that will disrespect you, and they say it in a shady form. You got to listen at the words people say, how they say it, what they say it. You've got to listen at that, because a lot of times people, there's some people, they're just known for doing that. You see a lot of that on social media. You see a lot of people, they're not going, if they saw you in person, the stuff they said on social media, they would never say it to your face. But they'll get behind and hide behind Facebook, YouTube, or whatever, and they'll say those things, and sometimes disrespect you, throw a little shade at you, and sometimes they'll put reference to something else, really, when they're talking to you. It's like having a conversation, you talking to one person, you're pointing in that direction of talking to them, but you're not talking to them, you're talking to the person on the right side that you want to hear this. And so you it's like a disrespect, and you've got to know the first thing that you've got to do is never let people disrespect you. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been there, and you've got to put yourself and make sure that you think enough of yourself. Now, I'm going to say something, that you think enough of yourself. I want y'all to see me when I tell you this. You got to know that you think enough of yourself, not to put yourself in a position to be disrespected. Why go where you know you're going to be disrespected? Why hang out where you know people are going to disrespect you? Why frequent where you know people are going to disrespect you? I mean, first of all, they didn't invite you to the party, but you showed up anyway. They didn't invite you to certain things. They didn't put your name on the list, but you showed up anyway, and then you left feeling a certain kind of way because of the way they were acting. They didn't want you there in the first place. So you put yourself in a position to be disrespected. You're allowing them to disrespect you. And I heard once when looking at Perry Mason years ago, he said even the dog can distinguish between a trip and a kick. A dog knows when you trip's over him by mistake, but he also knows when you kick him. And so sometimes you've got to make sure that you don't allow people to disrespect you, and don't put yourself in a position to be disrespected. I hope you're hearing me. Don't put yourself in a position to be disrespected. Sometimes you got to do certain things, but don't go where you're not wanted and then expect them to treat you a certain kind of way. It's just not going to happen. Some people, they only respect who they think are in their class, or who they think are in their tier. And so they believe if you with this, if you this, you that, you the other, then I can disrespect you, and they'll look down on you. And, sometimes you got to understand that you can put yourself in that position. I refuse. There's some places I don't go. There's some engagements I don't take because I refuse to go somewhere and be disrespected. I just don't. I'm not going to let you do it. I'm not going to put myself, I'm not going to give you the opportunity, and I'm not going to give you the privilege to be able to disrespect me while I'm there. So I can stay home and feel good about myself and not going to let you disrespect me. So you got to not let people disrespect you. Never allow people to disrespect you. Jokingly, throwing shade or whatever, don't allow them. Don't allow people to make you feel that you're not on my level. Everyone, if we want to use that term, everyone is not on somebody's level. If you think of a person that's rich, but then you think of a person that's a millionaire, then you think of a person that's a billionaire. Millionaires are not on the level of billionaires. So they could say, you're not on my level. And so we have to stop allowing people to disrespect us and things like that. Don't allow people to disrespect. You don't have to be nasty, but if I feel disrespected, I just don't show up anymore. Not to those things where you can disrespect me, and then I am that person that will check you if I feel that's what you're doing. And so you can't allow yourself to be disrespected. All right, let me get to the next one. The next one, another thing you can't allow yourself to do is allow people to pick your friends. You can't allow people to pick your friends. You can't allow people to pick your friends. Sometimes people, they try to pick out friends of people that they like or don't like, and they try to pick your friends, and you need to reserve that right for yourself, that you always pick your own friends. Never allow people to just pick your friends for you and pick who you're on. Sometimes we pick people that, and then sometimes we pick people because, Lord may have us helping them, but you got to be able to pick your own friends. Don't allow people to dictate who your friends are. And don't allow people to pull you in, watch this, to their fight that they've got with somebody. And because you all are friends and they're upset with someone, now they want you to be upset with them. You can't allow that to happen. You can't do that. You gotta pick your own friends. Reserve that right for yourself. The late E.V. Hill gave a story of once of how the Klansmen called him and said that we don't like the relationship that you have, and they used the N-word, Martin Luther King. And they said, and we're going to deal with you. And they talked about bombing his house and stuff. And he said that while they was on the phone, he said it was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. And he says, are you still there? And he said, yes, I'm still here. He said, I want you to know, I pick my own friends. I reserve that right for myself. And that's how you got to deal with it. Stop allowing people to pick your friends and who you hang around and who you hang with, and the people that sometimes people that hadn't done anything to you, you act crazy because someone else is acting crazy with them. Learn to pick your own friends. Reserve that right for yourself. Why would I reserve that right? Because I believe that if I, through prayer and fasting, if I'm smart enough, that I can pick my own friends, but not only pick my own friends, but I also believe that I can be able, when picking my own friends, that I can have a choice when I want to distance myself or pull myself away from them. And there have been sometimes you pick people and we pick them, but then we've got to be careful that we don't use that word friend loosely. All right, that's something else. I don't want to get into that, but we got to be careful that we don't use that word friend loosely. A lot of times we use it and say, "Oh man, these are my friends." Sometimes they're not your friends, and sometimes we pick them and we label them as friends. But now, if you want to know what real friends are, a friend sticking closer than a brother. But he says, understand that friends. A real friend is someone that knows everything there is to know about you and yet love you. So if you're going to pick friends, you pick the friends that will be with you through thick and thin. A friend is one that knows everything there is to know about you and they still love you. They're not the kind that I've talked about before that are friends with ears today, but when they fall out with you, they're friends or they're enemies with mouths tomorrow. No, you're talking about a friend. You're talking about people that are friends that will be there with you through thick and thin. And you got to understand that sometimes we are so easy to let people pick other people that we think are going to do something, and we throw away those that have been with us that knew everything about us. A real friend will come to your house and know that the only thing you can offer them, in like we used to say years ago, is a bologna sandwich and maybe some Kool-Aid. And you don't have any matching furniture. All of it's mismatched. But they will sit there, enjoy your company and everything. And when they leave, you won't ever hear anything about what they saw. Real friends can know the secrets of your life, and they're there praying with you and upholding you. And that's why we have to be careful that we don't let people just go to picking our friends. I don't allow people to pick my friends. I reserve that right for myself. And I don't turn on people because someone else feels a certain way about them. That's not what I do. Now, when I find out about you, the only way you can really get me to, I wouldn't use the word turn on you, but to stop fooling with you is it won't be what someone else told me. It'll be what you did. It'll be something that you did that caused me. I'm not even going to use the word turn on you. I'm going to use the word back away. And sometimes you back away and give them time. And then there's a time that comes around, then you discuss what the issue is or what the problem is. And I've done that a lot of times. I wasn't trying to be funny, but I just felt it was time to back away, because that space to me is very important. When you're talking about picking friends, not allowing other people to pick them, but when you pick them, that's a sacred place. When I call you a friend, that's something. When I just don't acknowledge you as an acquaintance, when I acknowledge you as a friend, when I say that's my friend, I think you should value that. I think every one of us should value. If someone says, Bishop Martin, you're my friend, I value that, because they hard to find these days. So if somebody is a friend, you act like they're a friend, and you don't allow people to make you act crazy and indifferent about people and let them pick your friends for you. Now, if you got kids and children, we have to monitor those things. But when they do some things, and every one of us, we know some people, they got friends that we don't necessarily care for. But at the same time, I don't go through no changes. I may not necessarily care for the people they hang out with or the people they associate with. But as long as they ain't bothering me with it, I'm fine. I don't. But we've got to be careful that we don't allow people to do that and pick our friends. All right. I pray y'all getting some out of this. Just remember, pick your own friends. Reserve that right for yourself. That's only for me. I don't let anybody pick my friends unless the Lord tells me something different. But I pick my own friends. All right, here we go. Number 3, and I'm gonna get out of here shortly. Never let people take away your right to have an opinion. Never let people take away your right to have an opinion. Did you hear what I just said? Never let people take away your right to have an opinion. It is strange that people believe social media, everywhere, social media, church, work, other places, that they have the right to say whatever they want to say, but they want to take away your right to have an opinion. Never forget, we were in Memphis, Tennessee, at the headquarters, Church of God in Christ. And the late Bishop Carr, Robert Richard Carr, we were coming out of the sanctuary in the parking lot, and we were talking about something, and he said those words to me, and this probably has been at least 25, almost 30 years ago. He said to me, Brother Martin, I said, yeah. He said, never let people take away your right to have an opinion. He said, because that's what people want. They don't want you to have an opinion. Now, your opinion may be wrong. My opinion may be wrong. But I'm not going to let you take away my right to have an opinion. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. That's why on social media, when people put stuff on social media, and then they get upset when people turn around and say something about it, and then they want to fuss and call them out and act crazy. Well, you wrote it publicly, which means I've got a right to have an opinion to it. And my opinion may not go with what you wrote or what you say. I may not agree with it, but it's my right to have an opinion. And I think all of us should understand you can't allow people to dictate you and silence you in having your opinion. Now, sometimes you have an opinion, then you go through, and then you find out maybe that opinion wasn't right. Then you can go back and correct it, but you have the right to have it. And then some things that you open your mouth, I think when it comes to having an opinion, one of the things that all of us need to do is we need to think before we speak, even with having the right to have an opinion. Just don't open your mouth. Just because it comes to your thought pattern does not mean you should say it out loud. Okay. I'm going to say that one more time. Just because you thought it don't mean you should say it out loud. Sometimes you be like, I just say what come to my mind. No. That can work against you rather than working for you. Sometimes you got to understand, think before you open your mouth. Some things you got to learn how to say in a certain way, in a certain manner, how to say it in the right tone, how to say it in the right spirit. And your opinion can go a long way. Now, one of the things that you got to be careful of, even though you got a right to have an opinion, is some people will put you what we call a trick bag. Well, what do you mean is a trick bag? They'll tell you and they'll say to you, I want your opinion. Give me your opinion on this. Don't always be so quick to dive in when someone says, I want your opinion. Tell me what you think. Because sometimes when people do that, they're pulling you into a trick bag because they really can't deal with the truth. They can't deal with the truth. They want you to say something that is politically correct, but they can't deal with your opinion in truth. You know, for instance, there was a person years ago, and she's deceased now. Won't even call her name, but she's deceased. Young lady used to go to our church. I wasn't passing, go to Powerhouse, and she had her hair was fixed, and she had some things in her hair. I don't know what they call them, finger waves or whatever. And so one day we were going through the sanctuary, and I spoke to her, and she's like, "Hey," I was co-pastor then. "Hey, co-pastor, I said, I'm fine with you." And so she asked me a question, something about her hair or something concerning that. And I said to her, I said, "Well, do you really want me to be honest with you, or do you want me to give you a politically correct answer?" And she said, "Oh, no, I want your opinion. I can handle the truth." I said, "Those things in your head just don't look good." All right, y'all, don't hate me. I said, it don't fit you. It it don't fit. I mean, maybe it's nice to others, but I just, I don't. So she took it, and I guess it was a couple of months later she was coming through, and she had her hair all done a different way, and so she stopped to my, hey Pastor, how my hair look today? I said, look good today, but some people ask you stuff, but they can't really handle the truth of your opinion, so they really don't want it because then sometimes they already know they're going to take away your right to have it because they don't want you to give an opinion because sometimes your opinion may be different. If I don't want to get your opinion, I don't ask it. But if I want your opinion, I ask and I be sincere. And I've asked people's opinion on stuff and they totally disagree with what I thought. Did we fall out? No. Did we become enemies? No. I asked their opinion. And what you got to learn to do is, speak what you believe and say what you believe, but don't allow people to try to get you to get away and silence you on your opinion. And I'm going to say this because this is one of the things that is bad for social media, and that is social media. There are a lot of bullies on social media, and I have to tell you that there's a lot of bullies on social media, and there are people that are bullies outside of church. Then there's some bullies inside of church, and they use social media as their bullying platform, and they try to bully you into being silent or not having an opinion. They try to bully you into thinking like they think. If you don't think like I think, then you ain't. And you have to be careful of that because it's just my opinion. It doesn't change anything about you. That's my opinion. I'm sharing with you what I think. I'm sharing with you my perspective. I'm sharing with you what I believe. Now, am I going to believe that the rest of my life? I don't know. But I'm sharing with you what I believe, and you cannot take away my right to have an opinion, and you cannot allow people to bully you into not having an opinion. Sometimes people use that bully mechanism and embarrass you, and then what they cause you to do is just be silent and not make a comment on anything. But you got to understand that you can't let people take away your right to have an opinion. It's just an opinion. You gotta stop letting people box you in. There's certain things that I see on social media I don't make any comments on because I know that my opinion is different from others, and I don't want to get into no back and forth with people because people love. That's another way of trying to suppress your opinion, is they love to get into back and forth, going back and forth. I'm too old to be going back and forth. I'm 64. I'm not finna go back and forth. I look at some of that sometimes like going with kids. I got 4 grandkids, and I don't, sometimes they come and I don't go back and forth with them. Now 1 or 2 of them, I tell them 1 or 2 of them got smart mouths, but I don't go back and forth with them. Ain't no back and forth. When I say do it, that's what I mean. Ain't no why and what for. No, ain't no back and forth. And so sometimes you got to get in that place that you don't go back and forth. Some things don't even deserve a response from you. They don't deserve you to hit back, clap back. Sometimes you have to, but some things, it don't even deserve things. And sometimes you got to recognize, whether it's in church or on your job, in the positions that you're in, you're going to get a lot of things that come your way that you're going to have to deal with. And you have to deal with them and be like, okay. But after that, go on. And so tonight, let me say to you, again, these 3 things. Number 1, never let people and allow people to disrespect you. Number 2, Pick your own friends. Pick your friends. Pick them. And then number 3, never let people take away your right to have an opinion. It's important that you do this. And I'm going to tell you something. If you do this, you'll probably live a better and not totally stress-free, but you'll be stress-free from a lot of stuff if you do that. Because one thing about people picking your friends, what you end up doing is if they pick the friend and then you pick your own friends and then they pick the person they pick don't like your friend, and you're going to end up in a situation where both of them in the same place and you're going to be going back and forth trying to please both of them. But you got to learn to pick your own friends. There's some people that are friends to others, they're not friends to me. And no problem with that. There's some people that I may be friends to, but they're friends, I'm not friends to them. It's okay. It's okay to be able to pick the people you want to hang around, the people that you enjoy their company, the people that you go, places where you go where you feel that you're celebrated and not disrespected. And you have to do that. And if you can do that, I'm telling you, you're going to live a whole lot better. You're going to sleep a lot better at night. Things are going to go good for you. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to tell you that you can't allow people to control every aspect of your life. I'm through tonight. I hope you got some out of this. And when you get out of here, when you leave, go tell yourself, no, I ain't gonna let them do that. I know what I'm gonna do, and you do it. And I believe you'll live and be restful and peaceful. Now tomorrow night, those of you, I want you to join me for Bible study at 7 p.m. We didn't have it last week. I had the emergency, had to go to the emergency room, but everything is fine. But tomorrow night, I'm going to be talking about something that I think is going to bless all of us. So I want you to meet me tomorrow night at 7 p.m. All right? I'm going to get out of here. Let me do this. Let me play this if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. It's coming. Today is, of course, the 18th. And so we're going, by next Monday, we'll be 4 weeks out. So I want you to save this date. Those of you, I would love to see some of you that can make this trip and be here. And those of you that can't, you can always view it online. But I want you to be able to do this and meet me here on the 25th. Watch this, and I'll be right back.
Save the date. We've got something exciting coming up, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Bishop Norman O. Harper and the South Central Georgia jurisdiction are thrilled to invite you to a special event. It's the Episcopal Elevation Celebration honoring Bishop Dennis L. Martin Sr., Auxiliary Bishop, and the Church of God in Christ. Mark your calendars for Thursday, September 25th at 7 p.m. The celebration will be held at the beautiful Kelly Lake Cathedral Church of God in Christ, located at 2411 Whites Mill Road, Decatur, Georgia, 30032. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. Come and help us celebrate Bishop Dennis Martin on his Episcopal elevation.
All right, all right. Yeah, make sure you put that on your calendar. Save the date, September 25th, 7 p.m. It's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to guests and those that will be coming from out of the city, out of town. Some of the national officials will be with us, and it's just a delight to have it. And I want you to be a part of that as we come to celebrate what God has done. And this is the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in our eyes. And so let's just do that. All right. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. Let me see this. Brother Owen says, sugar goes on grits. I hope you all still love me. Ah, boy. See, that's his opinion. He believes sugar goes on grits. Uh, and I can't fuss with him because I don't like grits. So I don't have no opinion one way or the other about grits. I just I don't know how y'all do it. I mean, I know you be, ooh, them grits were good. I'm like, nah, you know, can't do it. I think if I was hungry, I ain't gonna say I wouldn't eat them. If I was starving to death, I may have to eat them, but I don't like grits at all, and some other stuff I don't like. So, but that's a choice, and again, that's one of those things where that's an opinion. But let me say this: did you not know people have killed each other over one's opinion? I mean, just killed each other over one's opinion. And the late E.V. Hill said again, when he was pastoring, he said his members sometimes would say, Pastor, we don't agree with that. He said, I didn't stop them from giving their opinion. I let them have their opinion, give their opinion. He said, and then afterward, I could talk to them and either convince them why I was doing it or why their opinion was wrong. He said, but you don't stop people and argue with them in the midst when they trying to share their opinion. Sometimes you just got to let people say what they're going to say. And then later on, you can straighten it out or do whatever. But sometimes people have gotten killed in the fights and stuff because they had an opinion about something so strong that they went out or they went to the car and came back and shot somebody, didn't even know them, but simply because they had an opinion. I've seen people get killed over basketball, as far as not even playing the game, but just talking about who won the title in 19 this and 19 that. And it got so heated that one person pulled out a gun and shot the other. Let people say, but it doesn't mean you got to respond to everything. All right, I got to get out of here, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. Join me tomorrow night, 7 p.m. for Bible study. It's going to be a great time. We're going to be sharing with you, and I believe it's going to bless you tremendously. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night or next week. The Lord bless you, and all God's choice blessings be yours.